My name is Sheila. I'm 36, working part-time at a supermarket while raising 2 daughters, a 12-year-old and a 10-year-old. We live as a family of 4 with my husband, Tommy. Life was comfortable and happy. I genuinely believed our peaceful days would continue as I watched my lovely daughters grow. One evening after dinner, and once the kids were in bed, Tommy, with drink in hand and a serious look, began to speak.
Got a call today. Looks like Aaron's getting a divorce.
I was taken aback by the sudden news. Wait, Aaron's divorcing? Aaron is Tommy's younger sister. I recall she got married about 7 years ago and has a 5-year-old child. That's a young kid. Is she going to be a single mom?
Seems like it. Apparently, her husband had some hidden debts, and she decided to divorce him quickly.
That's tough.
Yeah, and she's planning to move nearby next month. She'll probably need some help, so I was hoping we could be there for her.
Without hesitation, I nodded in agreement. Divorce is hard enough, let alone raising a child alone. Having raised kids myself, I deeply understand the challenges. I genuinely wanted to help in any way I could. Let Erin know she can reach out anytime she needs something.
Thanks. We should support Aaron from now on.
Little did I know that this casual promise would lead to unexpected events. The following month, Erin and her son Dick moved into an apartment just a 5-minute walk from our place. On the day they moved in, Tommy and I invited them over for a small housewarming celebration. Our eldest, Becca, and our younger daughter, Ariana, played happily with Dick. Erin, you've been through a lot, though, I said. Erin replied, chugging her beer. Honestly, marriage isn't worth it. If it weren't for Dick, I wouldn't have married that awful man. I regret it. I was a bit shocked she'd say that in front of Dick, but figured the stress and alcohol played a part. Erin always spoke her mind. I remember when I first met Tommy's family, she bluntly said, "Really, Tommy? You chose someone so plain? Did you settle?" I froze in shock when he said this to my face, but back then, Tommy's dad scolded her for her words.
"Erin, if you ever need anything, just tell me,"
Tommy confidently told her. "Thanks. I knew moving close to you was the right choice. I thought about going back home, but Dad can be too strict, and I didn't want to feel suffocated." I remembered that Erin and Tommy's dad didn't get along well. It wasn't hatred, but more of Erin feeling overwhelmed by his strictness.
"If you ever need anything, just call. We'll be there in a heartbeat,"
Tommy assured. I added, "Yes, please let us know if you need help." But deep down, I felt a twinge of unease. I had this nagging feeling that we might be taken advantage of, and my intuition wasn't wrong. The day after Erin moved in, as I was preparing dinner, the doorbell rang. "Becca, can you get the door? I'm in the middle of something," I asked my eldest, who was watching TV. "Mom, it's Aunt Erin and Dick," Becca informed me. I paused my cooking, wondering if something had happened. When I reached the door, Erin said, "Hey, Sheila, I'm really short on cash right now. Can we join you for dinner?" Taken aback, I replied, "I'm sorry, but I wasn't prepared for extra guests tonight." "But you said we could come over any time we're in trouble." She looked at me with a slightly annoyed expression. I did say she could come over, but not without a heads up. Just then, Tommy came home from work. Upon hearing the situation, Tommy said,
"Erin's going through a lot. Let her have a good meal here."
So I decided to order delivery for Erin and Dick. After dinner, they even took showers at our place before leaving. "Erin, we need some notice before you come over. Can you let us know in advance next time?" I asked as she was leaving. Before Erin could respond, Tommy interjected.
"Hey, Sheila, Erin's struggling raising a child on her own. Don't be so cold."
He then turned to Erin.
"You don't have to worry about anything. You can always rely on us."
"Thanks, Tommy. Sheila, I'll be counting on you a lot from now on." True to her word, Erin started coming over almost daily. She'd have dinner, take a shower, and leave. When I suggested she shower at her place, she'd say, "It saves on utilities." Considering her divorce was due to her husband's debts, maybe she's become overly frugal. But this was beyond common sense. I decided to discuss it with Tommy. Our daughters are getting affected by Erin's frequent visits. She leaves Dick with them and just watches TV. They can't even watch their shows because they're busy with Dick. I've told her multiple times to take care of her son, but she doesn't listen. Can you talk to her?
She's struggling raising Dick alone. Let her relax here.
When I said that, Tommy turned away, as if to say that this was the end of the conversation. In the first place, it's Tommy's fault that she's doing whatever she wants in our house. I, too, was raising kids. Tommy only acknowledged Aaron's struggles, taking my efforts for granted. Speaking of parenting, I'm raising kids every day, too. It's just as tough for me. But Tommy only talks about her struggles and takes for granted what I, his wife, do. He doesn't seem to appreciate me. Honestly, Tommy frustrates me. When I suggested to Tommy, considering our daughters, can we limit Erin and her child's visits to just the weekends? Tommy reluctantly agreed, saying with a sour face,
You can be surprisingly unpleasant. Fine.
But when she stopped coming over, Tommy started visiting her apartment almost daily. Almost every weekday, Tommy stays at her place. Our daughters ask, Isn't Dad coming home again today? Didn't you have a fight? It's strange for a dad not to come home 5 days a week without a work reason. I couldn't take it anymore and called Tommy's cell. Where are you right now?
I'm at Aaron's. I was just giving Dick a bath.
Tommy said it as if it was the most natural thing. Come to think of it, Tommy never bathed our daughters. I reached my limit and decided to have a serious talk with Tommy that weekend. Our daughters are getting anxious with you only coming home on weekends. I don't want to create a rift between us, so please reduce your visits. Tommy replied,
Fine, then you make meals for Aaron and Dick. Deliver 3 meals a day. Aaron is too busy to cook. Help her out.
Hold on. Isn't Aaron unemployed? I can't imagine she's too busy to cook. I couldn't help but push back against Tommy's shocking suggestion. Tommy then said,
Aaron is still healing from her divorce. It's sad that you're cold to her too.
My distrust of Tommy, who overly sides with his sister, grows. Delivering 3 meals a day is impossible. You might not realize, but I wake up at 5 a.m. to handle house chores. If I have to prepare 3 meals for 2 people, I'd have to wake up 2 hours earlier.
Just wake up at 3 a.m. then.
What are you saying? Waking up at 5 a.m. and going to my part-time job is already tough.
Don't act high and mighty over a part-time job. You probably don't work that hard.
Stop joking. It's absolutely impossible.
Maybe you're the one joking. Maybe we should divorce.
I was shocked by Tommy's sudden mention of divorce. What do you mean by divorce?
If you can't listen to me, then we should divorce. You said you wanted to help Aaron, but all you do is complain. That's cruel.
That's my line. You're the one relying too much on wanting to help. There's a limit to taking advantage. Shouldn't you respect someone you're close to? That day, our conversation didn't resolve anything. The next day, Tommy declared to our daughters,
You two will support your aunt and Dick from now on. Your mom says she won't help because she's mean, but you two are different, right? Helping those in need is a given.
Our daughters looked stunned by their father's outrageous statement.
Becca and Ariana, after school, go straight to your aunt's. Help with shopping and dinner. Don't come home until you finish helping. Got it?
I couldn't believe it. Was Tommy planning to use our daughters since I refused? Our daughters responded, Dad, you're being weird. We don't understand. Mom, we're leaving. Even they couldn't agree with their father's absurd statement. Tommy told me,
Tell the girls, too, since you won't help Aaron. It can't be helped.
What does he mean by it can't be helped? My anger reached its peak and I came up with a plan. That day, I quickly changed my part-time job shift and visited Tommy's parents' home.
Oh, Sheila, what brings you here so suddenly?
Sorry to bother you on your day off, father-in-law. I took a deep breath to calm myself, but tears started to flow.
What's wrong? Did something happen?
Yes, something very hurtful and sad. I told father-in-law everything. Even though Aaron doesn't seem to think highly of father-in-law, I've always liked him because beneath his strict demeanor, he's genuinely kind. I thought he would understand, which is why I visited today. Father-in-law listened quietly to my entire story.
So that's what happened. I'm sorry for my foolish daughter's actions,
he said, clearly angered on my behalf.
We can't let this continue. Leave it to me. I'll set them straight.
His reassuring words brought a smile to my face.
You finally smiled,
father-in-law said, looking at me kindly.
You looked so distressed when you arrived, I was worried. Now let's go.
With renewed determination, I stood up.
Aaron, we're coming in.
Father-in-law and I visited Aaron's apartment. Oh, Dad, why are you here all of a sudden?
What do you mean by why? And what's with this messy room? What do you do all day?
The room was a mess, with trash everywhere. The bed was unmade. There was a terrible smell, probably from food waste in the sink. I wondered if she and Dick lived like this, but he wasn't there.
Where's Dick?
Father-in-law immediately asked on my behalf. Oh, I left him at a child care center. A child care center? Since when and which one? Getting a spot in a local child care center is competitive. I had a hard time enrolling my daughters. Plus, Tommy never mentioned this. Something seemed off. That's none of your business, Aaron replied, sounding flustered.
Of course it's our business. Are you really sending him to a child care center?
Father-in-law pressed her with a sharp gaze. Cornered, Aaron finally admitted. I leave him with a neighbor downstairs during the day. You know this neighbor? No, but they have a 4-year-old, so I thought it was okay. If there was a scale for audacity, she'd score high.
You fool! Go get Dick right now!
Father-in-law shouted, and she hurriedly left to bring back Dick.
What were you thinking? You've caused Sheila so much trouble. Explain yourself.
Well, Tommy said I could use Sheila however I wanted. He said she'd do anything he asked. She said without any remorse. Wait, is that true? Did Tommy really say I could be used like that? Yes, he said you're like his servant. He even said to use your daughters if needed. I can't believe that man. To think he viewed his wife and daughters in such a way? Father-in-law was equally shocked. Thankfully, Aaron's loose lips revealed the truth. While she had her issues, it was clear Tommy was the main problem. I decided I would never forgive Tommy. Father-in-law and I waited for Tommy at Aaron's apartment.
Aaron, I'm home.
Tommy, returning with high spirits, froze upon seeing father-in-law sitting silently.
Dad, why are you here? We've been waiting. Sit down.
Father-in-law pointed to the sofa in front of him.
Why the sudden visit? You startled me.
Tommy tried to brush it off with a smirk.
Just sit down.
With a stern command, Tommy quickly sat up straight.
You've been doing whatever you pleased, haven't you?
Tommy glared at me upon hearing father-in-law's words.
You ratted me out to Dad? Shut up. Both you and Aaron are out of line.
But Tommy and his sister were clearly intimidated by their father. It's evident they're genuinely afraid of him.
Sheila, what do you want to do moving forward?
Father-in-law asked me calmly. I had already made up my mind. Actually, the girls are currently at my parents' house.
Why would you do that without discussing it with me?
I don't want to hear that from you. I was terrified of how you'd use our daughters. I felt I had to protect them, so I've decided we should separate for a while.
Why the sudden decision to separate? Don't be ridiculous.
It's not sudden. You've barely been home on weekends. Weren't you the one who first mentioned divorce?
That was just a joke. I won't accept a separation.
Tommy was adamant about refusing my proposal. Then father-in-law spoke up.
There's a process called mediation divorce.
Father-in-law said so and told me about the legal process of divorce. He explained the legal proceedings of divorce, the benefits of hiring a lawyer, and how to gather evidence to strengthen my case. Turns out, father-in-law is a practicing attorney. Now I understand why Tommy and Aaron fear him. They know how father-in-law champions those facing injustices. Regardless of being his children, father-in-law would uphold justice without bias. It's puzzling how such a straightforward man could have such selfish children.
I'm on Sheila's side. What's right should prevail.
Father-in-law's words warmed my heart. After a 3-month separation, Tommy and I divorced. I thought it would lead to mediation, but Tommy agreed after father-in-law's persuasion. I don't know what was discussed, but Tommy's words,
I don't want to go against Dad,
hinted at intense pressure. Tommy probably realized he stood no chance against father-in-law, a skilled attorney. It was a clear victory for father-in-law. I told Tommy, how does it feel to be bitten by your own dog? He just looked down, saying nothing. He probably always looked down on me. It's a bit sad to think about. After the divorce, Erin lost the financial support she received from father-in-law.
You can't always rely on others. If you need money, work for it. When you think of someone else, you can overcome any hardship.
Inspired by father-in-law's words, Aaron started working part-time and is now raising Dick with determination. After the divorce, I changed jobs. From a part-time job, I became a full-time employee. I wanted to provide a better life for my daughters. It was challenging to find full-time employment initially, but that frustration drove me to improve my skills. I now see my divorce from Tommy as a blessing in disguise. I still have a good relationship with father-in-law. My daughters adore their grandfather, sharing their achievements and gifting him with things like music boxes they made at school. Father-in-law is irreplaceable to me. I cherish our relationship and feel fortunate to have such a respectable father-in-law by my side. I hope to be as admirable to my daughters as father-in-law is to me as I continue my journey in life.